Welcome to the show, Weezy.
Thank you.
I'm happy to have you. I know you have 87,000 jobs, so I'm grateful that we were able to make some time to have you join the show.
Jamaican, except I'm not. But literally, I didn't want to come on anyone's podcast but yours.
Really?
Deadass. I haven't done any interviews. Well, I have some press and articles and stuff, but I just really have liked watching it. And then seeing you get your NAACP nomination, I was like, wow, man.
Thank you.
Because seeing Dear Media even add Black women has been really nice. We've been working with Dear Media for a long time. So every time one comes through, I'm like, no, really, your show is really impressive to me.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've been at it for a while. So I really appreciate that.
You need to continue to tell people that because everybody gives up their podcast.
Absolutely.
Everybody gives it up. And I got my podcast pop quick, luckily, but some people really, you got to do it because you just enjoy it.
Yep.
And someone's going to take that information and it's going to change their life. I'm sure you have that story already.
Yeah, but it takes a while. I mean, it took probably a good 3 years for the show to really catch on.
That's fucking long.
It's really long.
I wouldn't be with a bad relationship that long. If I ain't making money in 3 years, I'd be like, break up with me.
I mean, the podcast has been way longer than any relationship I've had.
That's so sad, too. 8 years. How long have you been doing
8 years? A long time. 6.
Shit.
Yeah. But that's a long time.
Not good enough. How do I have these fans, but I can't?
It's not us, it's them.
No, I like that point.
Well, I'm excited to have you, though, because something that I've really been exploring on the show recently is getting into the minds of successful women and women who have businesses, who do different things and what makes them tick, how they do what they do. And I think that everything that you do is so fucking cool. And I'm really excited to have you and to learn how you're doing all of these different things.
I felt like we would get to talk about that because a lot of times when I'm being interviewed, it's so sex focused. And while I love it, it's not really even my bread and butter anymore. And so it's kind of sucked that I can't catapult past this. I had a conversation the other day. Almost every guy I've dated has had an ex-girlfriend or a woman they used to date call them and be like, you're seeing her just because of horrible decisions or the name I've made in the sex industry. And it's damn, girl, I employ people. There's so many people that have gotten their credit up or even one of my employees used to be homeless.
Wow.
We've changed so much with what we've done with the studio or even other shit. Me running productions and only hiring Black. Sorry, but it's true. I'll have 2 Latinos on say it'd be 10 Black people, 2 Latinos, and 1 Asian. That's what you get out of me. And it sucks because people just really think all I do is talk about sucking dick, which I'd love to talk about and do. But, there's a lot of entrepreneurship about me. There are a lot in my entrepreneurship pursuits that people don't understand, I guess.
Yeah.
Just because when you're a podcaster, they feel like all you do is just, this shit is work.
Yeah, it is. And I get that. I mean, I started off with a wellness show and that at its core, we talk about a lot of wellness things here. So I think when I do also try to talk about things outside of wellness, sometimes it can seem like a departure.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get it out of you today.
Wait, get out of me? No,
I'm saying someone from Decision are horrible. Going to be like, oh my God, they have I want to ask you one question. I'm going to ask you a hors d'oeuvre. I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
It's our sex tip on horrible. I'm going to need it before the end of the show.
Oh, girl.
That's okay. You got time to think. Interview me.
Time to think. Okay. Well, one thing I do really want to talk about, though, is that with your podcast, well, you have multiple podcasts, but talking about horrible decisions, now decisions, I want to talk about that transition because I'm sure that decision, no pun intended, to change the name didn't come lightly. What was the process like and what made y'all decide, okay, we're going to switch it up?
So when Charlemagne gave us a book deal, we've been on Black Effect for a few years, which is his network on iHeart. When he gave us a book deal, we started to have conversations about oh, we want to be on the Drew Barrymore show or Good Morning America and this and that. How do you do that when you're whores, right? Even though the book is disgusting, we've got to cover it up somehow, right? And I don't know if we talked about rebranding in terms of how horrible decisions would be marketed, but then the name change happened. And Mandy and I went on for months. We did 4 meetings of what it would be, yelling at each other about how fucking stupid one's idea was. Oh my God. I wanted to actually call it Horrible Decisions with an H because I was like, duh, that's the easiest thing to do. Mm-hmm. And, to her credit, she was like, yeah, but this is a pun because we don't shame people if we act like the sex decisions are horrible. So decisions was something the president of iHeart came up with, Dolly Bishop. She was like, y'all are overcomplicating this. Like, what is taboo talks? What are y'all talking about? We're going to call this decisions. I was like, oh, duh.
Yeah.
So a really cool way that we rebranded as well is we now offer 2 episode drops a week, which this is maybe not interesting to you, but just as podcaster advice. We were always doing listener letters at the end, but we would never get to them. And so instead, we added it as a second drop for more advertisement. And it really worked out. Just being in the studio same amount of time, doing another drop. And I love it now. Horrible Decisions is behind a paywall, so we still get to talk about our crazy threesomes and sex club nights. But the rebrand has been interesting because I hate that our core fans might feel like, how come you don't curse as much or this and that? But I do want some people to see us that may have been scared before. You know?
Yeah.
Someone listens to this and was like, there's no way I'm going to talk to that girl. Like, there's someone that listens to your wholesome, nice show that may have never touched horrible, but maybe decision is more palatable for them.
Yeah.
So that's really what happened. And I felt very weird about the rebrand. The way we announced it, too, was kind of weird. We acted like...
Y'all did a fake out. You pretended like you were breaking up.
We did. Mandy has a marketing degree. She had a plan. And it's interesting because people know... You know, we aren't the closest to friends, but we have a great business together and great business acumen. And when it was happening, before we did it, I literally said, I can't do this because I don't want to like get mad at you. Even though we were in a great space. We're out, we're having fun. We went for drinks together for the first time in like 5 years. I literally was like, I'm scared that the internet will make me feel away. And so, I logged off for a week. It was crazy. So many things, by the way.
So that probably made it look even more real. If you
I wasn't responding. And so people are like, oh, she's just ignoring it. No, really. By the way, like Instagram, I couldn't find a recipe. I couldn't, it was, not having Instagram on my phone was crazy. I'm not a TikTok girl. So, but when I finally got back on, you know, it was hard to read it. People talking about how, of course, we weren't making money or we were failing or this or that. I was just like, oh, can we tell them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And people are very excited to see a downfall.
Why do you think that is?
I think it just exposes the insecurity in us. You know, when you are maybe not living your truth, when you're maybe in a job that might make you feel like you're unhappy, and you're watching people live out loud and make money from it, how dare you?
It's triggering.
Not to mention talking about sex for a living, which people think is a very, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess I could describe it like OnlyFans. Remember when OnlyFans popped off in the pandemic and everybody's like, these girls are whores, but they're millionaires. And it's like, you know, I've interviewed Lena the Plug on Sex Sells. Literally, she bought a home to be an Airbnb for porn stars to shoot content. I mean, the girl probably has already paid off half her house.
Yeah, that's so smart.
This is smart, right? The way that Plug Talk, her and Adam22, if no one knows, is her husband. And they've created another show where they interview porn stars and then fuck them. That ain't the smartest shit to do. So it's like, you know, you look at this and you think like, ugh, she doesn't do anything but sell her pussy. Well, she does it with some thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think that's the same thing when you're talking about sex. Of course, people listen to you. That's what I've heard forever, because you talk about sex. Of course, people listen to y'all because of this, that. I don't even think I'm that gorgeous. So I feel like we were just hot girls talking. It might have not have popped. I think we're really funny. And Mandy and I genuinely are in this lifestyle. So that's what's made it easy for us to do this in a way where, you know, we can last this long.
Yeah.
A lot of people that start a pod, and you know this, they're trying to be either famous or be a host that they're not, or be very righteous. It's like, this isn't you. So it's very easy for me to just talk about a threesome because this is my Saturdays.
Yeah. Well, and I think in order to have a show for any kind of extended period of time, you have to really be into what you're talking about and be willing to talk about it 10 different directions.
And the vulnerability of it.
Yeah.
Kind of being able to laugh at yourself, your pitfalls. Like when people have financial shows or financial literacy shows, I love when they talk about their mistakes. That's all I want to hear.
Yeah.
It's like, where'd you fuck up? I need to know. I don't want to hear how rich you are. We already get it. I could see it on IG. Where was it bad? When you overdrafted, what'd you do? Like stuff like that. I really enjoy that.
And there is, I think, with podcasting, a level of intimacy with the audience that you don't get through other platforms, because you're literally like, your voice is in someone's ear every week. And that's so different than a clip on social media that builds a level of closeness.
For me, when I'm listening to a podcast, the person has to be the opposite of me.
Like, in what way?
Like your tonality even. I'm really loud. I'm sure Remy's over there engineering like this is up and down. I like someone who feels more calm than me, isn't as like over talking, chatty. Like I like someone that knows how to listen. And I think that's the type of friend I want in my ear. You know, that type of intimacy, because it does feel like a friend. I might listen in my bed or on a drive and it's just me and you. And even with, I don't know, TV, you don't feel like you're included.
Right.
But in a podcast, you kind of do.
Absolutely.
And we're even referencing, I'll say you, or I'll look toward, like it really feels like it's you. A lot of people, and you probably know this, they want to feed your ego so much. Please tell me why this was bad.
Yeah.
Please tell me where I could have improved. I need that. And that to me is what successful people do.
Mm.
Anyone I know, one of my friends that's rich or famous, when I've watched them perform or have a piece of art that comes out, book anything. And they're like, what didn't you like about it? I notice a lot of them do that. They're waiting for the critique. And you need to constantly be in a self-improvement mode to be a successful person instead of just getting all the good, right?
I think that's hard for people.
To get some bad feedback?
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Or even to seek it out. Yeah.
Self-love, girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's when.
Did you have to learn to be more comfortable with that, or were you always like able to take it?
No. I think 30 really did it for me.
Mm.
A few different phases of me being able to take feedback, and I would implore everyone. One, a really bad breakup. You have to fall on your face and your ass and feel so bad that all you can do is self-improve and not give a fuck.
Where there's no way but up.
There's something about a bad breakup that kind of changes people.
Especially women.
Oh yeah. Like I think mine was overeating, just not taking care of my hair, my skin, nothing. And it was like, oh, there has to be this moment where I'm walking down the street like I'm going to see him at any time. And then eventually you don't even care if he's there. There was something about a bad breakup around 25 that really helped me not give a fuck. It was because I gave up so much of myself that I lost my own self when that person was gone. I think the next thing is when you hit a certain... For me, I dropped out of college, but I would guess when someone receives some type of higher learning, they feel good about themselves. For me, it was money. Knowing that I could afford to do certain things, just be able to be independent and on my own, that really helped. Like, then it turned into this whole talk of, which I feel like is a Twitter response. Bitch, you ain't paying my bills. Why would I care? But it really was true. Mm-hmm. And then I think the next one is truly accepting yourself. And I don't think you can do that until after 30. Maybe if you're lucky, you can closer to your late 20s, but you're just like, oh, I'm not really changing. This is who I am. This is my attitude. You got to learn your weaknesses. That really helps. I am the first person to tell everyone I'm not that organized. And so what do? You build a team of people that are to help you. But knowing that you have flaws, once people can't throw it in your face, oh, that's the one.
Yeah.
I know everything wrong with me. I really do. And if someone could point something else out, sure. But it's learning that and being comfortable and knowing you're going to get better at it one day.
Just giving yourself room to be human and not, this is going to sound like the most ridiculous example and very millennial, but it's something that always sticks with me, is in the movie 8 Mile with Eminem. Walk with me here. It's relevant.
Okay.
The rap battle at the very end, he starts by saying all of the things that people would rag on him for. All the things about his mom, his girl, he's broke, all of the stuff. He just puts it all out there and is like, what now? What can you say about me now? Because I've already said it all, because I'm aware of it all. And that is relevant.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay, now I am with you. Right when you said the rap battle, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to take my ass back to 8 Mile. Okay, yeah.
Back to middle school.
But it's that type of thing. We watch comedians do it. Mm-hmm. A lot of that like self-deprecation. There's a healthy one and there's not.
Absolutely.
I've met a few people in my day where I'm just like, girl, you are not ugly. Like, you don't look bad. What do you?
Well, because it's, I think if you're doing it to be productive and it's a form of kind of self-awareness for growth, then that is one thing, versus people who are doing it because they just want compliments and they want somebody to tell them like, oh no, that's not true. There's a big difference.
Something I stopped doing, I always felt like I was undeserving of compliments. So when someone would say they like my outfit or whatever, I'd be like, oh my God, you too. But I wouldn't even look at the outfit. And it was something very small. I don't remember who pointed it out to me, but I was like, why do I do this? Do I feel like I can't just take it and sit with it? And it was that type of stuff. Like, am I really comfortable with myself? And when I learned how to be, I started walking different. You know, people, when they meet me in person, they're like, oh, you're so short. And I really believe it's because I have a tall and big energy. I think we have to. Like, I've also been a person that I'm like a wild girl. When I lived in Florida, I've lived in New York almost a decade, but I was a girl that had a girlfriend and a boyfriend, and maybe I was doing some Molly. What the fuck? Like, everybody just was always talking about me. New York, that's where the crazy people go to live. It's where you go when you don't really have a home where you're from. That really helped, but starting to learn that, okay, this is kind of me. I might be the girl that says something wrong at a family dinner. I might be, but I'm well-intentioned, and I've got to accept that. So I feel like once you are living your truest self, that's the best.
Yeah.
But I'm fortunate enough to have family that accepts me for that way. I know it's not like that for everybody.
That's a good call out. But I appreciate that you share that, though, because I think that it just gives people permission to be themselves. And I think that it can be really hard for a lot of people to feel okay just being themselves.
You got to find the tribe. Like, seriously, it's weird for girls to make friends online, but I was on Bumble BFF when I moved to New York. I was, and it wasn't even, for me, I really want to surround myself with women of color, but I was swiping on white girls if the bio was right. I was like, oh yeah, this girl's fun. Like, I needed those like-minded people. That will make you feel very safe in who you are. It's that friend that you call when you're like, guess what I did last night? And they're not making you feel judged. They're like, okay. That's what I need.
Absolutely.
I want to hang up feeling like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. No, I can't do that.
Absolutely.
Do you have a good tribe?
You don't judge. I do. I feel like I'm forming one, especially I haven't been in New York that long. It's been a little over a year.
Oof.
So like, I'm still very new, but I definitely feel like I'm building a really solid community here. And I'm really grateful for that.
You need it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a good, I actually got a girl.
Oh, great. More friends. I'm all about more friends.
I do. You and her have the same vibe. Even when I walked in, I thought about her.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, set it up. I also feel like podcasting has actually been good for making friends as well. Like I will often become friends with guests.
With a guest? Oh my God, yeah. You ever slept with a guest? I have.
I have not. No.
I'm telling you, that tea.
How was that?
Which time?
The most memorable time.
Oh, it was a woman. We were flirting during the pod, and she texted me after and was like, I'm not joking. So I just was on the high of the podcast, and I'm like, oh my God, let's hang out tonight. Kind of forgot about it. Mandy and I did another pod, and I'm done like, oh my God, it's 5 o'clock, and now I'm really about to meet this bitch at 8. And I was so nervous, and she literally was like, this is going to happen, and years from now, we're going to do an episode about it. And I was like, are we really? But that's the thing about podcasting. You truly start connecting with someone and you're like, I need more. Because you're talking so deep.
For sure. It gets deep quick.
Now I'm about to tell you about my trauma. It's like, well, I got to be your friend. It's weird. Like podcasting, it's straight away. Nothing is better than, I'm sure you've had this guest and your followers probably know which one that it was. It's like the first 2 minutes, they're just giving it up.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. You're delivering. Why else?
Whenever they're like, I've never said this before, or I usually don't tell people this, it's like,
ooh, get one out of me.
Favorite thing to hear. Okay, I'll try.
Get one out of me. I'm ready.
Okay. I'll let it happen organically. It'll happen. It'll happen. I have faith. I would love to talk more about your entrepreneurial experiences, though. And I know that we like touched on that a little bit. But you are an incredibly impressive entrepreneur. And to your point, like, I don't think that people necessarily recognize that or talk about that as much as they should.
I don't have entrepreneurial girl attitude. I put on a blazer for you, actually. I would have worn a crop top. Like,
you can come as you are. But we love a blazer moment.
I'm trying to stop doing it. I'm trying to stop being so casual and be a more serious person. So, for example, I've been working with WTF family and like, we've never really lost an employee. Someone just moves. Like they're so tight knit. I would even describe it like this. When you work for a small business of people that actually give a fuck, like if someone, any one of them, even someone new, was like, hey, I know we get paid Friday, but I need it on Monday. Okay. That to me is the perks of this, right?
Absolutely.
Our group chat is so wild. I've maybe said nigga more in that group chat than any other one that I have. And I recently started a new business. I'm like, oh, I can't talk like this. So it's like, I'm like really seeking out trainers. I haven't built that family yet. So my entrepreneurial ventures are very different.
Yeah.
And they also have different goals and purposes. And so I'm trying to learn how, I say that to say, be more serious. I got so comfortable with WTF. I can't necessarily be like that in any other world, And I want to make sure I'm doing them justice as well. I don't want them to work for some crazy ass boss, I mean, I guess they already are.
They'll be fine. But so for the audience who may not know the businesses that we're talking about, even when we say WTF, the audience may not know what that is, even though that's where we are currently.
I think I'm Beyonce in my head.
Y'all see it every week. So tell the audience a little bit more about WTF. And I would love to hear your experiences starting a like brick and mortar business.
Yeah. So I've been a podcaster with Horrible Decisions, now Decisions, where we met Alex, who was our video guy. And over the years, him and I grew a strong friendship, and we ended up building a podcast studio together, WTFmedia. And it started as a podcast studio. Now it's like full slated production. Like we're on site. We've traveled to France for this. Like, I just wanted to say that. But we've traveled internationally. And it's crazy because the first year we did it, I was like, oh my God, okay. So the rent is only $3,000. So we can afford $1,500 each if we never get paid. I have literally never poured another dollar into WTF. We had to open a second space within 4 months. We opened in LA after a year. We are constantly reinvesting. And like, it's crazy because we've been able to give employees a raise every year, which is not fucking normal. Normally, when I was working in corporate America, they were like, oh, 2 or 3%. Like, we give commission to employees. Like, it's just been amazing because I've always wanted to be that person. And I used to always really think in my mind when I was behind a desk, like, I would never do this. I would never treat people like this. Someone dies, they have a flu. Why are you making me feel like shit for calling off? You sure you can't come in? No. And I never wanted to be that person. So I really believe that our clients even kind of see it. Like, I've said this so many times on different podcasts, but I feel like everybody that works here is somebody you would want to have a drink with. That's like my interview process. That's fucked up. With my partner, it's not like that. He definitely is more like, oh, have they been an engineer before? And I'm like, are they cool?
Well, you balance each other out.
Yeah, we do. And that has been the great thing for choosing partnership.
Yeah.
Like, he is very tech savvy, very introverted. I'm all about how are we going to brand it? Who are we going to get on board? And very extroverted. So it's been the blend that this business really needed, because every podcaster is generally speaking a good host. But who's behind all this? Where are the nerds? You gotta partner one. Luckily, my business partner is a cool nerd. But yeah, I was really surprised how it took off. And in the middle of WTFmedia taking off, the seal of approval for me becoming a producer on shows was being able to own a studio. So that just is even crazier. Or even like how you actually really do need a cosign from somewhere. You can say you can produce a great show. And I've been saying it for years. Not until I had that one IG post did people trust me. So there is something about investing in a brick and mortar that looks very official. Like, I feel like if I was doing something mobile, nobody would believe me that I was good at it. You know, even when it comes to estheticians. If someone tells you, oh, I have a mobile beauty business, you're like, you're not doing my lashes. I'm going home.
Right.
There's something about having that address. Mm-hmm. It's very wowing to people.
Yeah.
So it's been great.
Yeah.
But the shit is crazy. Sometimes things will leak. People will trip and fall. We got to have insurance. Like, it's nuts. But I enjoy it.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot that goes into it. But I think what you guys have done so well is like clearly met a need. Like, I know now living in New York, having previously lived in LA, finding places to record is really hard. And I think the reason why like every show records here or at one of your locations is because it meets a need. And I think that's, if anybody is like an aspiring entrepreneur, probably the biggest takeaway is like, what need is your business meeting?
Girl, that's exactly what I thought about. That's the question I asked myself when I made this gym.
Yeah, like, let's talk about the gym now.
Does it exist? That is a thing. I just don't. It seems so simple. Mm-hmm. Why don't people get it? Like, seriously, there were many podcast studios in New York. Some of them, you had to bring a hard drive and do this and do that. Some of them weren't open late. Some of them didn't have a set with a couch. And it was just like, okay, but why? You know? And don't get me wrong. Offering more things means you have higher overhead. This gym is Le Labo, girl. Them candles costing me a motherfucker. But at the same time, I want to smell that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just opened a gym, and that's why I really wanted to, come on and do press. But it's like, it's something I'm so excited about. Like, I swear to God, if it wasn't mine, I'd go still, So I, in February, went and did a workout. Now, I'm not a fitness girl. I hope you're not watching this. I ain't saying I'm not fat by any means, but I'm also not like buff, which I feel like if you tell someone you own a gym, you gotta look like it. I don't think I look like it. I think I could own a bar. But anyway, so I've been thinking about opening something in fitness for a long time because for the last 8 years, I've done it all in New York.
Yeah.
And something hit me this February. I won't say the name of the place, but I was in there. I think I made a joke about the type of music that I wanted to hear. I was like, that was so hard. We need a little rap music, girl. And she was like, we would never play rap music in here. It felt very hard ER.
Yeah.
And I left and I was talking shit on the phone with my friend. And I was like, girl, like, I need trap Pilates. That's what I said. And then I'm like, is there trap Pilates? I Google it. Of course there is. And it's in Atlanta. Shout out to y'all. Of course it is. Someone's thought of that. And I'm like, no, but really, why does the music suck every time I do reformer? This shit is hard as fuck and it's never good. And if I know anything, I know a party. I travel for music. I'm one of those girls. So-and-so is in Croatia. Let's go. So I knew that I knew how to make a business. I know that I can't find this anywhere else. So what do? I'm not a fitness girl. You got a partner. I literally picked my favorite fitness instructor in New York. His name is Jeff Blue. He's a Black man that he worked at Switch Playground and now Lifetime. Well, now Trap. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was like, hey, my favorite forms of workout are lifting and Pilates. And I don't want to call it Pilates. It's Pilates inspired. To be fair, you want some tea?
Of course.
Girl. So Legree is the name of my favorite workout.
Uh-huh.
I found out through Solid Core and researching Solid Core that they used to license out Legree. Mm-hmm. Sebastian Legree is someone who's alive and well who created this method, bomb method. Mm-hmm. But it's very expensive to license. You also have to license the machines.
Yep.
I'm like, let's do Legree and lift. That's what I want. It's going to be trap house, trap and house music. Those are my favorite genres. People are like, oh, what's the science? Is it the BPM with your heart rate? No, girl, I just like this shit. And it works well. So I sent him to LA. I pay $2,000 to get him Legree certified. Uh-huh. Now, he's been a trainer for a long time and all that, but you know, Legree.
Yeah.
Come back, try to buy the machines. And they're like, do you own the license? I'm like, what? SLT has literally a monopoly on using the name Legree in all of the East Coast.
Wow.
I'm like, so y'all ain't know that when I spent $2,000 to send him over there?
Yeah.
Girl. So I had to buy other megaformers. Uh-huh. And I can't say it's Legree and I can't say it's Pilates. But I'll tell you, I didn't like that. Okay. Basically, the workouts are just like any other that you would do on a megaformer, but except because you have lifting half of the time, it's more core focused on this one. Mm-hmm. But it's phenomenal. It's literally how I would split my week. I would go do a Legree class and do a lifting class. I love group fitness because I'm egotistical. So yeah, I basically came to Jeff. I'm like, I want you to make this workout for me. I'm going to pay for everything. It was either, I had about 150. I just want to be transparent with that number so people can understand how much stuff costs in New York. I had about 150. I was going to buy $1 million apartment or start a business. And start a business was what I did. So what do you do when you ask someone to make a method for you? You have to give them equity. So even though I spent the money, I offered him equity. And he literally took a chance, left his job, and now is part owner of a gym. And came up with this thing, and literally I was like, damn, I don't know if I've ever seen a Black man lead in Pilates inspired anything.
I've taken every workout class under the sun. I don't think I've ever had a Black male Pilates
at least not a Black straight one. Not that it matters, because we're hiring a good look. But like, no.
I've never seen it, yeah.
And then when you find a Black girl that teaches it, you're like, oh. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, he worked really hard with the assistance of someone else, just like a Pilates expert.
Yeah.
And they made this method together, and it's a great burn. And literally, my boyfriend was in there with me, and he goes, this is hard. I was like, is it? And so I'm starting to cry. I'm like, don't gas me up. It's hard. He's like, no, this shit is hard. And like, yeah, you're already tired when you're on the reformer for 20-something minutes. Then you got to lift weights. What the fuck? But it's amazing. I see like the most amazing people come in that just found it from TikTok. I know nothing about TikTok. So I was in there this morning working out, and this girl's like, oh, are you Weezy? I'm like, yeah. So we're talking. And then she didn't even know I owned it. That's how viral it went on TikTok.
Amazing. I've seen it. I've seen videos about it on TikTok.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And so I think just starting something that didn't exist. There's no one that's focusing it on music. Don't get me wrong. Rumble and Barry's got some good playlists, but it depends on the person.
For sure.
So the sound system's good, but it's like this playlist might be whack. So at least you know what you're getting. And I'm doing some really cool different music weeks. So I've made jokes that there's no Taylor Swift allowed, but I'm gonna do a Taylor trap version. I'm gonna find something, but I'm a piano, some guam. Like I love different variations of South African music, Afro beats, dance hall. I want a little reggaeton versus dance hall moment. And I found like a great playlist. I was watching American Pie, all that 90s shit. I'm like, I need this. But I want people to know that they'll have a good musical experience when they work out.
Absolutely.
And just being in something Black owned that's fly. I feel like there's so much association of if it's Black owned, it looks cheaper, which is why I did the Labo. I was like,
it looks beautiful. I still need to go.
I know.
It looks gorgeous.
Thank you.
Gorgeous studio. Anyone who has been out here in these dating streets over the past few years knows it is rough. There are so many red flags to look out for, like bad communication, still texting their ex, not having a bed frame. But for me, one of the biggest indicators of a red flag is the state of someone's bathroom. Listen, I can forgive some things. I can forgive a bad outfit choice or maybe different taste in music. But what I cannot forgive is a terrible bathroom. If you have towels that have not been washed since the Obama administration, if it is messy, if it is unkept, or worse, if you're using one-ply toilet paper, it's just not going to work. Because I have to ask, if someone doesn't care about the details in their bathroom, what other details are they neglecting? Does that mean that they're not detail-oriented when it comes to planning dates or being a partner? These are questions that need answers, which is why it's important research. And I'm not the only one who has been conducting this research. A recent Charmin study revealed that 3 out of 5 people think that you can tell a lot about someone based on what's in their bathroom. Because let's be real, the state of your bathroom says a lot about you. Charmin found that 76% of Americans consider premium toilet paper to be a green flag. That means that your choice in toilet paper could make or break your first impression. I mean, think about it. If someone walks into your bathroom and they're doing a little investigating like I like to do, you want them to find the good stuff, the stuff that's quality, that's soft, that's absorbent. It says, I care about details. I care about comfort. I am an adult who makes good choices. But if they see that flimsy, one-ply tragedy, that's a red flag. That's why Charmin is on a mission this season to prevent the dump. Because nothing could derail a budding romance more than subpar toilet paper. Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear is the ultimate green flag. It's 2 times more absorbent than leading brands. It is incredibly soft and is even aesthetically pleasing because yes, that matters. And get this, it's the only toilet paper with wavy perforations for a smoother tear. That means no more struggling with jagged edges or ending up with too much or too little. Now, if I'm being real, it's pretty rare that I allow someone into my space, but if someone were to be so lucky to get to snoop around my bathroom, there's a couple of things they'd find. Probably enough skincare to rival the department store. They would definitely find my retainer collection, and they would also find Charmin Ultra Soft Smooth Tear because, again, I care about the details. So do yourself a favor and stock your bathroom with Charmin to prevent the dump. Your future self, your guests, and your love life will thank you. And if you want to see more about how Charmin is saving relationships one roll at a time, make sure you follow Charmin on social, Instagram and TikTok at Charmin to learn more. Trust me, this is one green flag you want to be waving.
I had a lot of help. A friend of mine I met through podcasting. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of Bible Stories. Her name's Brianda, and we used to produce the show for her. Mm-hmm. She was a celibate girly who did psychedelics and loved to talk about the Bible. And she worked for Gary Vee at VaynerMedia. And when I started this idea, I was like, this is someone I would want to do operations for me. So even starting another business with friends, it's scary.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're trustworthy. And so it's beautiful, like to know 2 of my friends quit their jobs to do this. And starting a business, again, where earlier I mentioned I'm not organized, hiring people that are. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not. And I think that's been the beautiful thing about starting businesses is leaning on the weaknesses. Like literally, I asked Brianda in a text message when we started this together, what are you bad at? And I'm going to tell you what I'm bad at because we need to know. I'm kind of bad at remembering events and stuff. So she would start, we've had so many little not issues, but little things where she'd be like, I really needed you for this and you just kind of forgot about me. Now she doesn't take it personal. She'll just maybe say, hey, I'm just repinging you with this. I am so emotional that when she gets diplomatic, I think she's angry with me. But it's just knowing those quirks and learning those things that every business owner needs to do. Taking your ego out of it, also very important. A lot of people don't know how to own TrapHAUS. Don't give a fuck. Don't care. You know, why?
It's not about that for you. It's about the actual creating the space.
I don't believe a lot of people that start businesses are like that, though. I think podcasters, too, aren't like that. Yeah. They're very about self.
Yeah.
Do you really care if your listeners are getting something out of this? Or do you just want to tell us about yourself? Now, I know I'm talking about myself on this, so it's a little different. But yeah, I was like that on Horrible in the beginning. We would have a Dom come in and I'm like, well, let me tell you about my time. For what? Like, you're here. I think a lot of business owners like to stick their chest out. And that doesn't necessarily make you the most money. Like, you've really got to figure out how to celebrate your team more than anything. That's when people work harder for you too. Like being, you know, a proud place to work at and treating them well. Like, I've learned all these things, and I really hope everyone that works for me and with me can say that about me too.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of the ways that you've learned how to like manage and lead teams?
By example, there's a lot of times where I'll come in the studio. If I see the trash cans full, I'll take it out myself. Knowing that like I would uphold myself to the same standard. I also don't put my finger in anyone's face. Everybody's adults that work for me. I don't like to treat them like children. I'm also private with feedback. I don't like to overexert this "you work for me" attitude. I think that never helps. And I've really been respected because of that. I also make sure to say working with you, like, because I need you. You know, like if I lost an engineer today, I actually do believe people aren't replaceable. Tiana's moving. Sure, I can find someone else to do her job, but she's not replaceable to me. And I believe businesses treat you like that. It is hard to find someone. Right now, I'm looking for more Black women trainers. And I realized a lot of them won't leave where they are because those studios are holding on to them because they know they're irreplaceable. So I believe treating people accordingly. When you're good at something, I think a company needs to tell you. And I've even been told by a friend before, who's a very successful business owner, didn't take their advice. I was gassing someone that worked for me. And she was like, watch how you talk, because then she's going to be ready to get a raise and ready to do this. Girl, if she watching me on a goddamn boat in Cannes, I got to give the girl a raise. Like, I'm living a certain life. Like, yeah, you deserve that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not about to fight you tooth and nail if you believe you deserve more. Like, we should be giving people what they want. So I just try to make sure I do it before they even ask. Like this Christmas, it was really exciting for me to do that for WTF employees. And I feel like I'm doing my best to lead in a way where they're getting rewarded. So that's really it, like this reward system type of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. That sounds like really compassionate leadership.
We have to be, though.
Yeah.
Because to own a studio where you're predominantly hiring people of color, I'm not about to treat you like everybody else is out there.
Right.
Like, I just had an interview with a girl and she was like, I cannot believe TrapHAUS pays the same. And I was like, well, yeah. She's like, I mean, I teach a class of 25. You only have 11 spots. She's like, I was ready to take less.
Wow.
Because I just wanted to work for, you know, young people, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I believe when you pay well, when you're giving as much as you can, oh my God, you get it back like tenfold.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying when you're doing something on your own, be as cheap as you can. But you know what I mean? Like, pay people well.
Yeah. And treat people well.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Compassion when it comes to things people have been through. We've had, you know, grandparents die. One of my employees, their mom died. Like, I can't imagine the anxiety of telling someone, hey, I need to be gone. Have you ever sent that email like, I'm not going to make it, and you feel bad for something that happened to you? Hell no. That's the number one thing that literally will make me steal the K-cups and all kind of shit in that office. I'm the first person to steal something out of office. When I'm telling you right now, computer paper, taking it. I don't care. I will fuck you over. Like, and I just want to make sure that, yeah, I'm giving people what I hated about work.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think so many places, I mean, I've had a lot of corporate jobs. I'm only like a year out of corporate. So I've had a lot of corporate jobs, a lot of like friendships through work. And I realized that all of my work friendships in corporate spaces are really like trauma bonds. And I think that's the case for most people.
Holy shit, you're so right. When you left, tell me this. Did you have a friend and y'all didn't have something to talk about anymore? Like it just kind of...
I have. Oh, yeah. I mean, people who I haven't talked to in years because we don't work together anymore. So that was it.
That sucks. I do love a good work kiki. I kind of miss that. I love talking shit about people at work.
It was fun during like messy moments for sure.
Yes.
Office mess.
Give us a good office mess.
Oh, I don't even know if I remember. I haven't worked in an office in so long. Because even though I was in corporate a year ago, I was remote.
Oh, you were remote. Okay.
Yeah. I will say, okay, office mess. I had this job years ago where I found out that I was being paid less than everybody on the team. Coincidentally, I also happen to be the only Black girl at the company. I'd say coincidentally, sarcastically, even though I had more responsibility. And so I ended up going to my director, talking about it, making the case for why I felt like I needed to be compensated more. I ended up leaving before anything really came of it. A few years later, I'm at a different job and we're having like I don't know if it was like a DEI meeting, an equal pay meeting, whatever, but they post this article and they're like, hey, everybody read this article and then come back and we'll chat about it. So I read this article and it's from the company that I used to work for, talking about how an employee came asking for more money. And I was like, shut up. Is this play about us? This article is about me and about the time that I asked for more money is now being used as this like team building exercise. Anyway, I don't know if that's tea, but it felt
no, that's tea.
Like messy.
That happened to one of my colleagues when I worked at a telecommunications company, and they were like, "Well, I'm talking about me. She gets paid, more." I was like, "But I'm ambiguous. Like, let's just call a spade a spade." Black women generally do get paid less in most companies. Yeah. Actually, I started my career in T-Mobile.
Okay.
So I was working at the stores and then I ended up working in the corporate office doing sales engineering, account executive. Then I worked for Spectrum. I went for more money. And then the T-Mobile culture was just fun. I should have stayed. If they're at the gay pride parade, you probably should just stay there. But yeah, I went to Spectrum to make another $25K and I hated it. I would say my messiest moment, my aunt died while I was at work and she had cancer. So it was kind of expected. It was a weird time. There was a breastfeeding room, a nursing room that I went to just go be alone in. And everybody saw me when I got the phone call. And I went in there and I got a knock on the door. Mind you, wasn't nobody pregnant in there and not even close. Everybody was old. Their kids were 10 and up.
Right.
Do you know she told me to get out of the room? And I'm like, why? I was like, I'm not trying to go home. I'm trying to finish out this day. She's like, well, it's reserved. And then we're going to have to give everybody that treatment. And I'm like, well, is everybody going through a death? Yeah, people die. Listen, I've never spit in anyone's drink or anything like that because I've never been like, worked in hospitality. But I remember fantasizing like, next time she get coffee and it's just sitting there, how can I do it?
Can I put in it?
What about the Visine?
So rude and just like lacks compassion and empathy. It's just, I hate stuff like that.
I think, I did sleep with someone at work. That was fun. So
that you knew from work or at work?
Oh, wait. Good question. Never slept with him at
distinct.
Work.
Okay.
So this guy, I was working in the T-Mobile store at the time. I was a manager. To be fair, he was a senior. He just didn't want to be a manager. He had been a salesperson for 10 years. Back then, we were making like $90K selling phones. It's crazy the commission they were paying out. And I worked at one of the busiest stores in the country, so we were making a lot. So I just had a crazy boss who always wanted mess. And I came in late and she was going to write me up. And I literally was like, all right, if I give you a piece of tea, will you not write me up? She's like, you better have fucked Lewis and give me the details. I was like, I did. She pulls me in the bathroom. She goes, you better spill it, bitch. You better tell me.
She called it immediately.
Girl, if that is the mess, I was dying. And I'm like, I would flirt. I was the flirt. That is how you make sales.
Yeah, I'm like, that sounds like commission. That sounds, yeah.
Let me tell you, for anyone that works in sales, I don't want you to feel bad when people talk about the type of dress you may wear, flipping your hair, flirting. To me, sexuality and femininity are kind of one in one, right? I never had my tits out. They're great. I never had them out when I was making a sale, but I was always bubbly and friendly and flirty. I have seen men do this my whole life. Men use their own charms, whether it be their masculinity, their broing. There's something about them too that will make you buy. Yeah. But when you're a woman, they make you feel so bad. Sorry, I'm hot. Okay, I'm sorry. Like I would really go to these offices just like, but you need it. You do. Like whether it was the ditzy girl, whatever it was that I wanted to play up, and I have found that people will make you feel shitty about that forever. I'm telling you. that is femininity at its finest, to lean on whatever that is. The coyness even in not knowing you're being oversold.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a woman can do that to
Mm-hmm.
you. So you guys, you're gonna get it? Just add it on top. Like, it's all the time. I had a real estate agent sell me an apartment that was in escrow, and I was like, I really think I did it because she was cute. I'm not even joking. I was in Florida, and she was like, I say you just put an offer in. Like, it'll be a good investment. You're not gonna lose money, whatever. Like, just this flighty thing. And I was like, okay. Girls
There's
just
so much power in that. And I think that's why women get shamed for it, is because they don't want us to use that power.
Let's talk about the Joy Taylor thing. Have you seen it?
No.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Joy Taylor is a sports newscaster that has been in the news lately because she slept with Skip Bayless.
Okay.
Now, was it Fox News, Remy, that they're on Skip Bayless? No idea? Okay, it's all sports shit, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's some stuff in the reports that are kind of dicey.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one particular thing that's coming up about her fucking her way to the top. I gotta be honest, I don't give a damn. People have sex with someone at work all the time.
Right.
Now, if that person is in a position of power, sure, you could say it's fucking your way to the top, but what makes her different? Like, than anybody else that dated at work? I think it's just very easy to tear someone down. I would compare her in like a Taylor Rooks way of, Black women in media and sports, right? Taylor's killing it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if we were to find out Taylor slept with someone in the NFL that was of, high power, like, would we then say that to her too? Like, I hate it.
Well, and it's also like, do women fuck their way to the top, or do men hold women out of positions of power unless they,
And at that point,
Right.
then what?
Right.
But you know how real that is? I have seen so many times that I've slept with Kenya, that I've slept with Charlemagne, just to have the things that I have. God forbid I'm good at what I do.
Always a way to discredit women.
That is why for me, whenever I read those things, I'm like, you just are waiting to make me feel like shit for having this. People think I have sex with Alex, who I own my studio with, who is a full-on fiance. We've been friends 8 years. Never will I stop hearing that. Of course I will. Because why else would he want to do this with me, right? I'm just used to that. So I hate that women get that. And that's why when I saw that thing of Joy, it came out a few days ago from us recording this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, like, she's hot, he's rich.
Yeah.
Like, duh. I'm sorry, but when you see beautiful women end up with powerful men, hello. Could it be us? I don't know. But like, that is their arena. Beautiful women have those options. And I feel like any man shitting on them on Twitter or whatever it is, you would do it if you could. I think there's like a weird thing that's happening now with, women entrepreneurship is just rising, especially
Mm-hmm.
Black women entrepreneurs. College degrees, all of it. Mm-hmm. Women are, honestly, I will say this. When my homeboys call me, they have so many options. Every girl they send me, not only are they beautiful, they're smart, they look funny, they just well-traveled, they're amazing. I'm looking at this Instagram like, how did you meet 10 of these girls this week? I hear that from a woman once.
Yeah.
And, if a month, if not even that.
I mean, that's a lot.
Hold on.
Like, that sounds generous.
Once a quarter. So you met someone great. And then are they available?
Right.
Men have some options out here, straight men, because these girls are they're phenomenal. And I think that's what makes it a little harder to hate if you're a guy that doesn't really have your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been fortunate enough to be in spaces with some men that know how to work with women well, but I can't imagine how that feels, just thinking about that with dating. Yeah, every man I know, they've got the best options for women. One of my friends right now just went through a breakup and I haven't spoken to him in a month. I went to check on him. He's like, I know I'm supposed to be sad, but like, I'm dating this paralegal. She's fire. And then I met this gynecologist and I met this other girl. She owns a beauty salon in Atlanta. And I'm like, where the fuck are they at? That's why I need to be a balanced less. I'm just kidding. I have a boyfriend. He's great. But
if you want, I mean, you always can. I don't know if men have as many options for themselves if they don't necessarily have money to be able to like lean back on like women do.
Okay. Why I agree with you, I've always said that there has to be 3 things for a man to have just natural confidence. 1, it's either height or looks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're broke, but you got some height and you're handsome, you gonna be all right.
Right. Checks and balances.
Yep. Money, as we know.
Mhm.
The third one, don't laugh. You must have a big dick.
Mhm.
There is a confidence with men that have a big dick, and you can't see it.
Yeah.
But they're just moving through life with
Mhm.
this like bravado, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
you're great to be, because they know they got some shit.
Uh-huh.
Oh, anytime I meet a guy that's like fun and just like, even if I like kind of turn them down, they're like, you good? I'm like, oh, his dick must be big. Like, so just very confident. Just you feel that energy.
Mhm.
With the women, I think, I don't know, it's not as easy to tell because women do have an easier way. Like, beauty comes natural. I think you could be a frumpy woman that could still be beautiful. Like, you could find a way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But with men, oh no, we tear them up.
Yeah.
Don't be 5'6". Like, we're going to tear you down about it.
Well,
Don't be bald.
Learn some jokes. Make some money. I don't know. I mean, there's ways around it. You can't, if there's things that you can't control, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't control how tall you are. You can control your attitude.
Oh, yeah.
And you can control your work ethic.
Have you dated a short king?
I've gone on dates with short kings. I haven't been like in a relationship with a short king.
I was when I was younger. The last short king date I went on, his dick was huge. And I knew it. We met at last lap. I felt it in my spirit. I was like, damn, he is fun.
Yeah.
And I was like, and he was just telling me he works in marketing. And I was like, yeah, he make 85. That dick must be big. He got a little ass. But I will say one thing I appreciated about him was he didn't let the height, like not wear him, but he never brought it up.
Yeah.
And it was a
Yeah.
thing where sometimes I was feeling it. But yeah. And we went out. One of my friends is 6'8".
Uh-huh.
Ran into him. And he was just in it,
Yeah.
not, towering
Like
down.
Tom Holland
What's interesting,
energy.
I've been on dates with women.
Mm-hmm.
When I have a hot homegirl, they start acting funny.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, Tom Holland energy. That's a good one.
Mhm.
He had
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I think girls do that a little bit.
Mm.
Like if their man works with a woman who's beautiful
Mhm.
or has a friend, and then you just start acting a little funny.
Yeah.
And ladies, we got to stop doing that. They could read it on you. They could feel it.
Yeah.
You gotta stop. It's a little embarrassing even. And I've watched it happen, So I know on the receiving end for men, it must just be such a turnoff. So anyway, that's what made me give him some pussy. I was like, you go, you.
Yeah. If he's confident, that's half the battle.
Don't say half. He was half the height of the average man.
Okay. I actually do have another question for you that is a little bit more business related.
Yeah.
This is something that I think about a lot as like a creator, podcaster, being in media. Why has it been important for you to also build businesses that don't just revolve around you being on camera?
Oh, to be honest, I feel like this is something that's not going to last forever. Also, this sounds fucked up, but it's really how I feel. My on-camera fame, 70% of it is tied to someone else, right? And so there's always that fear of like, what if I branched out outside of horrible? What would that be like? Having all of these wins with another person, Weezy can't ever really be bigger than this thing. Sure, I can. My businesses might, but maybe I won't. And that's totally okay with me. I'm so fucking fortunate for what I've built with Mandy. But when I realized there's a day we won't be together, and what am I going to do? Just make another podcast? People like to consume me in that format with someone else. It's not like I'm not great. It's just my fans may feel empty without Mandy. Same for her as well. I don't know. I don't want to wish that on Mandy. She's amazing. But I was feeling like that. That's what really made me want to do another business. So I started my TV show Sex Sells because I love sex and money. And I get to interview people about how they make money from the sex industry. And there was a part where I was scared, like someone's going to watch this and feel like it should be horrible decisions. But I really wanted to talk about entrepreneurship in it. And it's on season 4. It's crazy because I really just had this idea based on my passions. And also doing that show was very exhausting. Being on camera is very exhausting. Knowing I have to show up when I'm in a bad mood. Or honestly, not to be like fat phobic. I know that we're very insensitive times, but I like to talk how I talk. When I'm gaining weight, I do not want to be on camera. And I fluctuate a lot. I really opened a gym so I could stay skinny. But I'd like dead ass. I'd be like, I look like shit. I don't want to be on camera. People watch me. Oh my God, is she pregnant? That's a thing. Oh, when we broke up, everybody thought I was pregnant, which only made me want to eat more. But like, seriously, there's so much about being on camera that is required more than just showing up. And I hate that part of it. And I realized working with Kenya, he said to me, I was like, I'm so exhausted right now. I'm so sorry I missed your call. Like, I'm shooting sex cells. I have horrible. I've got you. And he goes, why the fuck are you doing a TV show and not just producing 10 of them? He's like, the talent always makes less than the producer. Now, this is a motherfucker that's got $100 million Netflix deal, okay? So I'm going to listen. And when he said that to me, I was like, wow, he's right. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe this isn't true for a Tom Cruise or Zendaya or whatever, but generally speaking, it kind of is.
Oh yeah, the average SAG actor makes what, like $80K a year? I mean, that's like a regular corporate job.
Even to know that iHeart as a producer is producing all of these shows and making money. Spotify, whoever, like, they're getting that bread. And so I just really appreciated that because, for example, right, we could look at the richest female podcaster in Alex Cooper. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's had a 60-40 ad split, or maybe they pay her, you know, her $100 million as a guarantee. Who knows? But what's interesting about it is that girl has to show up, create all of that shit. Someone is signing that check and not doing the work and is sitting back.
Yep.
So maybe she might make a little more than Spotify. She makes a lot more than all of us, but my point is just the energy output. Yep. So you really can produce a bunch of shows, whereas if you're on camera, you have to show up for it and continue to garner views instead of just making more things. So for me, I just wanted to make businesses that would carry on, that I could kind of chill with. With Trap, I took a crazy huge money investment, but now there's a bunch of trainers working and doing it, right? So I'm not necessarily needing to be in there every day. And it's beautiful because I don't want to say it in a way like, now you work for me, but it's more so like someone made the house and now you get to make money from that house.
Yeah. That's like what you were saying earlier. It's like you're hiring people who have different strengths, so they just get to play to their strengths.
Exactly. And I think when it comes to strategizing on what you can make, the problem with content creators is they've made so much content with their own face, needing to speak for themselves, like whatever it is, instead of, listen, like, I'm sure you probably already have it or are making one or whatever, having a wellness page or just your podcast page, garnering stuff from that without you needing to get on the camera and say whatever you need to say, posting the meme with the quotes in it. Like, there's ways you need to offload. Yes, you're the brand, but you have to offload. You'll kill yourself. I'm killing myself right now, but it's so that I can be at the point where I'm not. And I think too many of us are trying to make things with our own face instead of concepts. There's a person I like to watch. Who's that guy? He's Latino and he's like, how did you make your business? Blah, blah, blah. And tell me, how did you become a millionaire?
Who just like pops up on random people?
Yeah, like a guy will be in a Lambo or whatever.
Yeah.
Great. Now he's got a brand, right? We love those videos. To me, the next step is making money, doing panels, making the network of other people to go and do that. Hey, you only live in one city. You should literally pay someone else who's a content creator to go do it in their city. Keep just building that up so you work less. Because now that brand is more famous than him. The Hard Knocks, School of Hard Knocks, I think it's called. It's stuff like that. It's figuring out how to almost duplicate yourself. If I could have it my way, I would start a little hoe network and it'd be a bunch of little horrible decisions girls. That's what I would have loved to do with Horrible Decisions. I can't do that, unfortunately, because we have our book and we've got to, go out there and promo. But yeah, that would be the smartest thing. I'm 34 years old now, damn near. There's a young hoe somewhere who's doing what I was doing. She need to get on this mic. I'm tired. My knees are cracking now. But yeah, I think it's just recreating the next thing. Building the brand like Kim Kardashian. Oh, let me tell you, people don't like to stand her. Oh, I love Kim. Love Kim. We know your clothes. We love your body. Now you made Skims. Now we get to wear some tight shit and look like that. Like it's all of that. It's just
like
making
Rihanna and Fenty thing where it's like, why would she go back to making music and touring and doing something so grueling and making way less money than
I don't even
her companies and her businesses? Yeah, it just doesn't even make sense, honestly.
Who's your favorite woman entrepreneur or entrepreneur period that have done that with a brand?
I think Issa Rae, she's built a whole ecosystem and is in so many different sectors.
I just hosted this screening for One of Them Days, which is the movie with Keke Palmer and SZA. So I hosted it with Keke in Atlanta for Horrible Decisions. And literally when I watched the movie, I said to myself, this feels a little Issa. And then I found out she produced it. That is when someone feels like they could see or touch.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
And I think we need to all be thinking about how to make that.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's a big part of why, like, with this show, I am moving the direction a little bit because I feel like with wellness, I've literally talked about everything. I've told everybody to weight lift and eat protein and journal and go to therapy as many ways as I know how to tell them over the past 6, almost 7 years.
Like, what else can you do?
I can't do the workout for you. I've said it every which way. But what I can do is I can introduce people to successful women, particularly Black and brown women, to hear how they're doing the things that they're doing and to get into their habits and to get into their minds and to hear how they do it. Because we also hear a lot about how the men do it, how the white people do it. We don't necessarily hear about how we do it. And that's more of what I want to talk about.
To be frank with you, I think a lot of people need to consume content like that because I have always felt like when I'm watching entrepreneurial videos or financial literacy, even if it's something small, that there's not a reflection of me in there. Women is really the only thing that I can cling to. But when I see another woman, I'm like, wow. Like it's mind blowing. Even age too. That feels good. Even when you're hearing from someone 35 that just started something great, it's like, oh, okay, there's another evolution of life. Like you're in a new phase. We need that so much. And I feel like saying this is very corny, cheesy. We need people to look up to, but like, no, you do.
Yeah.
You really
see what's
do.
Possible.
I believe that is a real thing. Nothing makes me feel better than when someone tells me I've inspired them in some way. I don't know how, but it does feel good.
It does.
You know, just knowing someone your age or demographic, even someone that was broke. Like, I also recently spoke to a PR team that wants to do work for Trap. And they've said a few things to me that they've found on interviews before. A girl asked me how I got money to move to New York. I said, oh, I had a sugar daddy. She's like, we don't really need you to say that when you talk about Trap. I'm like, why didn't I have the sugar daddy give me this money? But I've had a sugar daddy, babe. Like, this is a part of the story.
Yeah.
You want me to now switch shit up because I want people to come to this gym? I couldn't have been a whore before. Like, it's in the records. Like, let's not be phony now. I can try not to talk as crazy, but at the end of the day, like, I don't want someone to feel like they pulled a file on me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
And it's like owning your story.
And that's why I have on a blazer, Les.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Weezy, thank you for joining me. Please let the girls know where they can find you and how they can work out at TrapHAUS if they're in New York.
Yes.
We have a lot of New York listeners. So
okay. I'm going to make a code. So we had a BOGO code that a lot of people did to the point it was like 3,000. It was crazy.
That's insane.
I was like, we ain't even got 3,000 classes, girl. What the fuck? Yes. So I'm going to make a code, even if you did the BOGO, balanced. I'm going to make the code balanced and it's going to take $10 off your first class. Take it anytime you want, but I would say my favorite time to take a class is the morning. The morning people are serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
6:45 bitches they are different.
Oh, I feel I originated that.
Oh, did you really?
Tendency. Oh, yeah. I was working out at like 5 a.m. back in 2012.
Oh, yeah, they're different.
When no one was doing it. Yeah.
The 5:30 girls, they kind of look like they just had a drink. Like, I'm not even kidding. They're like, I don't really work out. I'm here for the vibe. Don't get me wrong, I'm here for the vibe too. So that's why I'm a 12 p.m. person. Mm-hmm. I'm very freelancer girl. I wake up at 9. Like, that's me. But yeah, I would say do that code. I'm probably going to see you there because I'm trying to get skinny. It's a really, really good workout. If you're scared of working out for the first time and being around a bunch of people, we have an intro class, but also nobody makes you feel like that, which is great. A lot of women have found us on TikTok and are coming for music and are getting overwhelmed. And I did not realize the fear in group fitness of people judging you. And I just love that that doesn't exist.
Yeah. It sounds like a really safe space.
I hope to keep that safe space.
Yeah.
Like, I really do.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for the code. We'll make sure we put it in the show notes, make it really easy for everybody to find and come work out.
Yay!
Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Les.